Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spill the Pea. This week, we get into Lech Lecha. First of all, it's the same word twice. So, make of that what you may. Our story starts with the Creator telling Avram to go from his land, from his birthplace, from his father's house, to wherever the Creator intended to guide him. Hashem tells Avram that if he leaves, he'll bless him and make him a great nation, and then some business about blessings and curses. So Avram, Sarai, and his nephew Lot go to Canaan. Hashem comes to him and promises his descendants the land. So Avram makes an altar. Then he moves to another location, built another altar, and then called Hashem. And so they keep going south. They hit Egypt, where there's a famine, and Avram is worried. Not about the food, but about the Egyptians being jealous of his beautiful wife and killing him. So he convinces Sarai to say that she's his sister. Pharaoh takes Sarai into his palace. Avram gets some gifts, but Hashem wasn't really into the situation. So plagues hit Pharaoh's house, and Pharaoh, who didn't want to deal with that issue, sent Avraham and Sarai packing. And then they go up from Egypt to go south. What's up with the language? He goes from the south between Bethel and Ai, where he already had a tent and the altar, and he called to Hashem. Lot was also with him. But then there happened to be some beef between Avram's herdsmen and Lot's herdsmen, and then somehow we have Canaanites and Perizzites in the land. Avram is a peacekeeper, so he suggested that Lot go left or right, and that he would choose the other way. So Lot chose left, and Avram went east. Avram built a life in Canaan, and Lot was in the cities as far as Sodom. Then Hashem came to Avram and was like, look north, south, east, and west. I'm going to give all this to your descendants. Then there proceed to be multiple battles, and Lot ends up being taken captive. So Avram, combined with his allies, took his men, went to rescue Lot, all of his possessions, the women, and the people. The war was over, and then Melchizedek, a priest of the supreme God, blesses Avram. And then the defeated king of Sodom wanted to give Avram some gifts. But Avram was basically like, nah, I don't want you thinking that you made me rich. Only the Creator gets that credit. So Hashem went to Avram and was like, you're my dude. I got you. And Avram was like, yeah, but I don't even have kids, so... And Hashem was like, don't worry. If you can count the stars, you can count your offspring. So Avram was like, okay, I'll trust you. Hashem declared, I'm Hashem. I literally guided you out of Ur Kasdim to give you all of this. Avram doubted and was like, yeah, but how do I really know? So Hashem was like, take to me a heifer, a goat, a ram, a turtle dove, and a young bird, and offer them as sacrifices. So Avram cut up the animals, but he didn't cut up the birds. Some birds of prey came, but Avram drove them away. The sun was setting, and darkness fell upon Avram. Hashem said, your offspring will be aliens in a land that's not theirs, and they'll be slaves for 400 years. As for the nation that enslaves them, don't worry, I'll deal with them. After, your offspring will be wealthy, and you'll be buried old, and the fourth generation is going to come back here. Again, Hashem made a covenant with Avram, saying that his descendants would be given the land from the river of Egypt to the Euphrates River. So, of course, we all know Avram's wife, Sarai, didn't have any kids. However, she did have a maidservant from Egypt, Hagar. And we all know that Sarai convinced Avram to take Hagar. Hagar conceived the child and started acting a little bit superior. So naturally, Sarai got upset and blamed Avram for the infidelity that she requested. Avram was like, I'm not here for the drama. She's your maidservant. Do what you want. So Sarai got a little bit mean, and Hagar ran away. On her travels, an angel appeared to Hagar and was like, what's wrong? Hagar was like, I'm running away because this situation is nuts. The angel said, go back and humble yourself to her hand. You're going to have a lot of offspring, but they won't be held in the promise of Avram. But you will have a son, and you should probably call him Ishmael because Hashem has heard you. So Hagar returned, she has the baby, and of course his name is Ishmael. So a few years later, the Creator came to Avram and was like, I'm El Shaddai. Walk in my ways and be perfect, and I'll give you the covenant and you'll be increased. Avram prostrates himself. The Creator continues, you'll be a father of a multitude of nations. Your name is now Avraham. I'm going to give you and your descendants the whole of Canaan, and I will be a God to them. As for you, you and all of your male descendants have to be circumcised. Then there are some specifics listed about the circumcision, and then Hashem tells Avraham that Sarai is now also Sarah. Avraham now prostrated himself and laughed, and he was like, I'm 100 and she's 90. Who are you kidding? So the Creator was like, yeah, laugh all you want, but when I make a promise, I keep it. So after their little powwow, all of the men had to be circumcised. And this is the end of our story. All right. So now that we've had the drama and the desert detours, let's get to the meat. First of all, let's talk about this Lech Lecha business. Those words sound kind of familiar, and they also sound kind of different. So what does it mean literally? Go to yourself. Not go forward, not go away, go inward. So how does one do that? Well, the Creator told Avram to leave his land, birthplace, and his father's house. To leave your land is to walk away from the customs of the society in which you were born. Don't get stuck living the life being the person that society told you that you should be. Leave your birthplace means we're all born in specific places at specific times. And some may or may not be more aware of astrology, but our astrological signs are based not only on the day that we're born, but on the time and the location. And based off of all of those things, you're likely to have specific tendencies or behaviors. So leaving your birthplace is saying, don't get caught up in the astrological limitations of your physical body. To leave your father's house means to walk away from limiting habits, limiting beliefs, and toxic emotional patterns you might have inherited from your family. So, should Avram succeed in all of that, he would Lech Lecha. He would finally become who his soul came here to be. And he would receive blessings and curses. The language is interesting here, though. It says, I will bless those who bless you, and he who curses you, I will curse. Now, curse is a slight misinterpretation. It's more like a rectification. But what's interesting with the language is that the Creator is proactively giving blessings and notes specifically that he will only respond with rectification if motivated to do so. Blessings are like a waterfall, and the rectification is on tap. So Avram takes his wife Sarai and his nephew Lot, and they go to Canaan. Canaan comes from the root word in Hebrew, kana, meaning lowered place. In other words, humility. So let's take a brief moment to discuss. A lot of people have a concern, is Torah or the Bible, is it literal or figurative? This is eating from the tree of knowledge. It's dichotomy. Maybe it is literal, maybe it's figurative. The point is, even if it is literal and not figurative, or vice versa, you can still get a lesson from it. That's the middle ground. Don't get so lost looking for the perfect spot on the beach that you miss the sunset. So on the way to Canaan, each altar Avram builds is not just a structure. It's a moment of release. Hashem takes the first step by promising his faithfulness to us. Avram chose to have faith and surrender. As Avram continues all of his journeying, because of his faith, he always returns to surrender, without a precursor or having to be pushed to do it. Then we're told that Avram goes south. Energetically, this means becoming more giving. Giving of compassion, giving of mercy, giving of kindness. When we give, when we sacrifice, when we surrender, and forego instant gratification, we expand our capacity to receive from the Creator. Paradoxically, we're also told that he's going to Egypt, or Mitzrayim in Hebrew. Mitzrayim means a constricted place. We're also told that there's a famine. Generally speaking, food is symbolic of spiritual health. So when it says that there's a famine, we're to understand that there's a lack of the Ruach Elohim, a lack of spiritual connection. So Avram lies out of fear, and the fear creates a constriction. So even Avram wasn't immune to that. And Avram's lie, although innocent, it caused an imbalance, which is what brought the plague and then led to Avram and everyone being kicked out. So then we're told that they go up from Mitzrayim to go south. So they're leaving the land of constriction again to head towards giving, kindness, expansion. Then Lot and Avram are caught in the midst of some family drama. Lot decides to go left and Avram goes east. Lot choosing left is symbolic of choosing control over surrender. It's the illusion of power rather than the security of faith. Energetically, the east symbolizes the balance of divine flow, having an understanding of kindness and giving in tandem with strength and discipline. So when Lot is taken captive, he's become a slave to the control-based nature of the world, and Avram fortunately saved him. As mentioned earlier, one of the defeated kings tries to give Avram some gifts, and Avram said no thanks. So the Creator came to Avram again and was reconfirming that he was going to make Avram fruitful. Avram was holding out because he was becoming restless, waiting. So Avram made an altar of a heifer, a ram, a goat, a turtle dove, and a young bird. Animals are symbolic. This is an active choice made by Avram to give over to the Creator his trust for sustenance, navigation through challenges, and also divine protection. So let's fast forward to the whole situation with Hagar. It's giving Garden of Eden energy. The woman gets impatient, she takes matters into her own hands, pulls the man in, and then gets mad at the outcome. Avram and Hagar do the do, Hagar gets pregnant, and then Sarai gets upset. Men are still dealing with this today. And on behalf of all women that make choices and then get upset that we made a choice, I'm truly sorry. The key difference here is that Avram does not fall into the blame game. When Sarai comes at him, he's like, you made a choice, so now it's your responsibility. And that's the lesson. There are no takebacks in spiritual growth, only awareness and adjustment. When we take responsibility for our actions, pretty or ugly, we're rewarded, even if they come from a momentary lapse of faith. Acknowledgement of mistake is the first step to be able to go in the right direction. Sarai was not nice to Hagar, so Hagar was out of there. The angel Hagar came across said something very interesting. First, Hagar was given the promise that her son would be fruitful, and then she was told to go back and humble herself under Sarai's hand. It takes a lot of courage to have humility, and when we're aligned, we're able to discern whether we're in a place to fulfill our purpose or in a place for an appointment. Do not confuse the two. She goes back, Ishmael is born, and all is great. A few years later, the Creator comes to Avram again and was like, walk in my ways and be perfect. So let's pause. The word perfect is one of those mistranslated words again. It creates a whole ripple effect of restricted understanding of what our Creator wants us to be, who He wants us to be. Need we be reminded, Avram straight up lied to Pharaoh about his wife. He humbled himself, went to the Creator, and didn't do it again, as far as we know. Then he slept with his wife's maidservant. He took some time, realigned himself with the Creator, and didn't do it again. This ugly word perfect has deluded us into thinking that making mistakes is literally our undoing. That we have to be always smiling, never sad, never angry, never anything besides happy and walking the straight line of life. Newsflash, no one is perfect. No one can be perfect. Even the Creator realized he made a mistake with the flood. So can we really top that? The Creator never asked us to be perfect. We were asked to be in alignment. So Avram is prostrating himself in front of the Creator, and him and his wife have a whole name change. What's so empowering and beautiful about the H in English and the He in Hebrew that they received is that, first of all, it symbolizes the Ruach Elohim, the breath of life, the spirit being reinfused back into them. Second of all, they're now expanded in their meaning and their purpose. The masculine, Avram, meaning exalted father, chose to constantly give, to be kind, to sacrifice his ego, and he became Avraham, the father of multitudes. The feminine, Sarai, meaning my princess, chose to finally give up control, to have faith, to receive, and she became Sarah, princess. He expanded through giving, and she expanded through receiving, both through surrender. Then Avraham had another sacrifice to make, and we don't need to revisit the whole circumcision situation. This whole story is a masterclass in humility from both the masculine and the feminine. Avraham teaches us that surrender is not weakness, it's strength refined. When we give up control, we expand our capacity to receive. Control is born from lack. Surrender births abundance. And so we hear 100 and we think, wow, what an old man, and 90 and we're like, wow, what an old woman. However, many among us like to say that time is not linear. The more we delay instant gratification, the more we are truly creating a vessel to be able to hold and receive what it is that we truly deserve. And a lot of language today revolves around lack and manifestation and abundance. So how does it all relate? When we so desperately cling to something, anything that we want, this is coming from our desire to control a situation. And just as we learned last week, control is suffocation. So control is directly related to lack. Abundance, on the other hand, is attained when we forego instant gratification, when we choose to give, not because we want something in return, but because we have the desire to introduce more light into the world, when we choose to be kind, to be patient, to give our Creator trust. And manifestation sits directly between lack and abundance. And whichever you choose to exist within is what will exist within your life. Lech Lecha carries so many traces of divine balance, from blessings and rectification, to the lies, to Lot and Avram being on opposite sides of the spectrum, to the infidelity. Just because we don't see the result of something doesn't mean that the Creator is not providing for us. As above, so below. Avraham lived a life full of giving at the utmost level, and he received the ultimate prize. Another important theme that seems small but has a big impact. The Creator blesses us and those who bless us by default. That was the whole point of the original light. So when one chooses to curse, shame, hurt, slander, criticize, or judge, the Creator will bring rectification. So what does that mean? Mind your manners and mind your business. If someone insults you or hurts your feelings or whatever you want to call it, and you keep your mouth shut, only one rectification must be made. But if you open your mouth and react, now your insulter must be rectified, and so do you, because now you've stepped out of alignment with the only one who you truly answer to. So Lech Lecha is clearly not just about Avraham's journey, but also ours. Every time we walk away from comfort and control, we walk towards the self the Creator intended us to be. My grandmother always told me that God don't like ugly. So mind your manners and mind your business, and we'll see you on the next one.